In Session 2, you were asked a question. Think about the everyday tasks you did today. Now think about having to do those tasks in a country where you don't know the language. It would be difficult, wouldn't it? Today I drove to the eye doctor to get my eyes examined. I had to read street signs to find the office. I walked in to find that the stairs were blocked, so I had to read signs that gave me an alternate route to the office. Once I got to the office, the nurse asked who I was and who I was seeing. She asked me to update my chart by completing a form. Once I was in the examining room, I was asked to look left, right, up, down. How many fingers do you see? I was given eye drops for dryness, but no instructions on how to use them because, after all, the instructions are written on the box. My goal was to get an eye exam, but woven into this task was a basic skill set that I needed in order to accomplish the goal. It'll be the same with your student. Your student may have a goal in mind, but while you're trying to reach the goal, you'll have to weave some basics into your lessons. We often refer to these basics as survival skills because they're the skills that adults need in order to survive everyday life in the U.S. They form a foundation from which your student can grow. There's no conclusive survival skill list. Different educators and authors have different opinions about what should be included. Over time, Literacy Volunteers Fox Valley has developed its own list of what seems to be most important for our students. In this module, we'll discuss each skill at length. We'll give you a couple of strategies you can use to teach survival skills and talk about how you might develop a survival kit. If you have a true beginner, start with these skills. Your student should be able to respond when asked, "What's your name?" Help them to speak their name clearly. Your student should also be able to respond when asked, "What's your address? What's your phone? What's your home phone? And what's your cell?" Help them to pronounce their address and phones correctly. For example, a phone number is pronounced 630-584-2811, not 630-584-2811. Yet that's how many students say their phone number. Stress the importance of keeping a printed copy of this information with them. Your student may be misunderstood if they have an accent. It might be easier for them to relay information if they can show it in printed form. Model the correct pronunciation and intonation of these words. If they're sure of how their name, address, and phone should sound, it will help them speak with confidence. When someone can't understand a word is spoken, the listener often asks the speaker to spell it. Help your student to understand the phrase, "Can you spell it?" Have your student repeat the names of letters until they can recognize them. Start with the letters of their name and the names of their family. Continue to practice with other letters until they can say the name of a letter when you point at random. And this is a little more difficult. See if they can point to the correct letter as you say the letter's name. Work on the student's signature. It will be handy when they need to endorse a check or sign an application. One tutor told a story about his student who became frightened when someone started pounding on her door. She couldn't understand the words, but he seemed to be speaking in anger. She kept yelling that he should go away, but he persisted. Finally, the man broke the door down and carried her away. She was frantic. It wasn't until she was outside that she realized her apartment building was on fire. The emergency words that you teach will depend on the person's situation, but a few of the more important ones are help, fire, and police. You might also combine the words and practice simple phrases like, "Help, there's a fire in the laundry room." That way they'll be able to report an emergency in person. One of our tutors suggests that it's important for students to understand our tornado warning system. During bad weather, her student heard the tornado sirens but didn't understand what they meant. This could pose a life-threatening situation. Our program manager has a copy of the worksheet she used to teach the lesson. If you'd like to have one, call us. Students should feel comfortable picking up the phone and dialing 911. Practice the phrase, "I don't speak English, I speak," whatever language. The St. Charles Police Department says that as soon as the 911 operator understands how they can best communicate with the caller, they'll patch in a translation service. It's easy to determine this when the caller is Latino, but what if your student speaks Burmese or Vietnamese? Precious minutes can be lost while the 911 operator tries to figure that out. Appendix L of LitStart has a list of common emergency signs. We suggest that you help your students recognize health-related signs first, like hospital, emergency room, danger, fire escape, and exit. Learning a list of numbers is straightforward. but understanding that combinations of numbers mean different things may be a little more confusing. For example, how would you say the numbers listed under the first bullet? What about the second? What about the third? You get the idea. Your student must be able to say numbers and know which numbers they mean. Also make sure that your student understands ordinal numbers like second, third, and fourth. Help them clearly pronounce numbers that sound similar like second and seventh so that they're not misunderstood. Everyone should understand how to use American dollars and cents, even though some of our European students are insisting that they're going to use a debit card for everything. Students should know the names of coins and bills such as dime, nickel, quarter, 10, and 5. They should understand their value and how to add and subtract them appropriately. One of our Polish students had money recognition as one of her goals. As a result of her lesson, she found out that the clerk at her regular coffee shop was cheating her. The next thing she wanted to know was how to complain to the owner. We can't tell you how many times students misunderstand the day they are to meet with their tutors. Tuesday and Thursday sound very much alike to the untrained ear. Help your student to know days of the week, the names of months, seasons, and numbers that identify days such as 4th, 22nd, and so on. Help your student understand how to mark down important dates such as birthdays, appointments, and tutoring sessions. You might ask if the student has a work schedule. Encourage them to bring it in so you can practice reading it as well. Your student's ability to read a calendar could lead to lessons in reading charts such as train schedules and bus schedules. Most of the students that come to our program can tell time in digital and analog even if they don't speak English. However, you may have to help them understand terms such as half past and quarter to. It's likely that your student will run into a situation where they can't understand what's being said. Give them the words they need to seek clarification. Phrases might include, "I don't understand. Can you repeat that? Can you speak slowly?" Other important phrases might include those that allow the student to seek direction. "Excuse me, can you help me?" "Excuse me, where is the bathroom? Where's the library? Where's the rice? Where's the..." fill in the blank. You might also help the student to make a simple phone call. Help them to dial your contact phone, navigate any menu choices, and to say, "Hello, this is..." student's name. "I can't come to my lesson today. I'll see you next week." Help your student know the words go, right, left, straight, back, north, south, east, west, block, corner, around the corner, over the river, to the light, to the next light, and to the stop sign. You might teach these words in conjunction with map reading skills. You can help your students feel more confident to explore our community by working with them to make a simple neighborhood map, or go to mapquest.com for maps. Map out the streets between the student's home and your tutoring location. Then expand the map by putting in landmarks such as schools, food stores, major businesses, or other places that your student may frequent. If you have a student who works at a hotel, ask the hotel if they have a map of the premises. Your student will be more valuable if they can give directions to guests. Being able to identify body parts is important. If they become ill, they'll have to tell a doctor how they feel. They may have to call school to report a child's absence, or call work to report their own absence. In addition to main body parts like head, ear, neck, shoulder, elbow, arm, back, knees, leg, etc., include some internal parts like throat and stomach, and some describing words like sore and hurts. You'll remember that we test for many survival skills when we give the best. Lit Start's Where to Start booklet also tests for a few. But the evaluations are not infallible. It's always a good idea to check for skill gaps. For example, I met a student who was able to answer just about all the questions on BEST, but when we came to the picture of the people in the doctor's waiting room, he couldn't recall the word for elbow or neck. Your Lit Start book and training handbook will give you strategies you can use to teach your students survival skills. Here are 2 to get you started. To practice letters, make pairs of letter cards to form a deck and play Go Fish. Here's how it works. Deal 7 cards to each player, you and your student. Look at your hand and place matching cards on the table. Then take turns asking for letter cards such as, "Do you have C?" If your opponent has the card, they give it to you. Take that card and the matching card from your hand and place it on the table. If they don't have the card, they say, "Go fish," and you take a card from the deck. The first person to match all of their cards wins. To practice body parts, cut up a large body part picture into segments. Mix the pieces up and ask the student to pair the word and the picture of the part. Or turn the pieces over and play a game of concentration. The student will turn over 2 pieces at a time. If they turn over a body part and a matching name, they leave them right side up. If not, they have to turn them back over and try again. Once all the cards are face side up, they win. Literacy Volunteers of America suggests that tutors keep a survival kit. By keeping your kit handy, you'll always have the items you need to teach a quick survival skill lesson when you come across a skills gap. Your kit might include things like blank flashcards and blank business cards, blank forms of various types, alphabet flashcards, number flashcards, pictures of common emergency signs, money like coins and realistic playbills, sample restaurant menus or food advertisements so you can add and subtract dollar amounts and talk about price per pound or quart, a calendar, a bus or train schedule, a cardboard clock, local maps, or a drawing of a body with the parts labeled. If you have any questions about survival skills, feel free to contact us at 630-584-2811 or email us at lvfoxvalley@aol.com. See you at training.